Cell phones and Wi-Fi do not cause cancer. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'd like to address a common concern that has been circulating for years, that everyday technologies like Wi-Fi and cell phones cause cancer. In a world where wireless devices are an integral part of our daily lives, it's natural to have questions about safety. Today I'll explain why the scientific evidence overwhelmingly shows that these devices do not cause cancer, and I'll help dispel some common misconceptions surrounding this issue. Understanding electromagnetic radiation. To begin, it's important to understand the basics of electromagnetic radiation. The electromagnetic spectrum includes a range of radiation types, but they can be grouped into two categories: ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation, such as X-rays, gamma rays, and ultraviolet light, has enough energy to remove electrons from atoms, potentially damaging DNA and increasing the risk of cancer. Non-ionizing radiation, which is what Wi-Fi and cell phones emit, carries much less energy. It is not capable of breaking chemical bonds or damaging DNA in the same way. Simply put, radio frequency energy produced by our everyday wireless devices is non-ionizing. This means that, unlike X-rays, it lacks the energy required to directly alter the structure of our cells in a way that would lead to cancer. Reviewing the scientific evidence. Over the past several decades, scientists around the world have conducted extensive research to investigate whether exposure to non-ionizing radio frequency radiation could be linked to cancer. Let's look at some key points from this body of research. Epidemiological studies. Researchers have followed millions of people for years to see if there's any correlation between cell phone use and cancer incidence, particularly brain cancer. Large studies, including the notable international Interphone study, have found no consistent evidence that regular cell phone use increases cancer risk. Animal studies. In studies conducted by the U.S. National Toxicology Program, rodents were exposed to levels of radio frequency radiation far higher than what people experience in daily life. Even under these extreme conditions, the studies did not conclusively show that this type of exposure leads to cancer in animals. Importantly, the exposure levels in these experiments are many times greater than everyday use, making them a worst-case scenario rather than a realistic measure of risk. Epidemiological trends. If Wi-Fi and cell phones were causing cancer, we would expect to see a significant rise in cancer rates over the last few decades, a period that coincides with the widespread adoption of mobile phones and wireless internet. However, data from national cancer registries consistently show that cancer rates, including brain cancer, have remained relatively stable despite the exponential growth in cell phone usage. Furthermore, reputable organizations such as the World Health Organization, the American Cancer Society, and the National Cancer Institute all agree. The current evidence does not support a link between Wi-Fi, cell phone use, and cancer. Regulatory standards and safety. Another important aspect to consider is the role of regulatory bodies in ensuring our safety. In the United States, for example, the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, sets strict limits on the amount of radio frequency radiation that devices like cell phones and routers can emit. Devices are rigorously tested for their specific absorption rate, or SAR, which measures the rate at which the body absorbs RF energy. These limits are set with large safety margins based on current scientific understanding. Manufacturers design devices to operate well within these limits, ensuring that even in the worst-case scenarios, exposure levels remain far below what could ever pose a health risk. Addressing concerns and misinformation. It's also worth acknowledging that fear of new technology is nothing new. When radio, television, and even electricity first became commonplace, similar concerns were raised. Today, with the rapid spread of information and sometimes misinformation on the internet, it can be easy to become alarmed by unverified claims. However, it's crucial to base our understanding on peer-reviewed, scientifically sound research rather than anecdotal evidence or sensational headlines. The consistent conclusions of numerous studies, combined with rigorous regulatory oversight, confirm that everyday use of Wi-Fi and cell phones does not cause cancer. In conclusion, the key points to remember are non-ionizing radiation. Wi-Fi and cell phones emit radio frequency energy that is non-ionizing, meaning it cannot damage DNA in the way that ionizing radiation does. Scientific consensus. Extensive research, including large epidemiological studies and animal research, has found no reliable link between the use of these technologies and cancer. Strict safety standards. Regulatory agencies have established and enforced strict guidelines to ensure that all devices operate at safe levels of radiation. While it's always wise to stay informed and follow new research, the overwhelming evidence supports that our wireless devices are safe with respect to cancer risk. Let's continue to enjoy the many benefits these technologies provide without fear.